So find a position where you're seated, you feel very stable on wherever you're seated, and your spine is long. So there's a lot of space for the core, for the lungs. And then drop your shoulders, feeling a little loosening there. Ideally, both feet would be on the ground for good balance and blood flow. And then if you're comfortable with it, I'd invite you to try closing your eyes. If you find that that's really too uncomfortable for you, another equally good option is to find a place 3 or 4 feet in front of you on the ground and just settle your gaze there. So either one is fine. The purpose of settling your gaze or closing the eyes is really just to limit what's coming in as stimulation. And so you can kind of play with which one actually helps you more. With your eyes closed then, or your gaze settled, I'm going to invite you just to begin to pay attention, perhaps in a slightly different way. So beginning to notice first just what's happening in the body in this moment. You might notice the rate of the breath. Perhaps you notice where you most easily feel the breath. Maybe you get a good sense of the support of whatever you're seated upon. And maybe you can even feel right into both of your feet. It's useful to feel into the feet, the connection with the earth. Maybe to get a sense of the pressure under your heels or the balls of your feet. And you don't have to do anything here. You're just taking a stance of a curious observer. You're just noticing where your weight falls on your feet. Maybe more toward the top, more toward the back. Could be more toward the outsides or the insides. You're just observing the support of the earth beneath you. And maybe you can even feel into each one of your toes. And as you sense that connection with your toes to the earth, you may notice times where the mind begins to make stuff up, ask questions, have other thoughts, lead you off. Whenever that happens, with kindness, just noticing it. Oh, there I went. And then bring your attention, if you'd like to, right back to this moment. And in this moment, on your feet. If you want to, you can move your attention on up your legs, feeling into the bend at your knees, the long bones of your upper legs, perhaps. Maybe just sensing the pressure on your sit bones. Or noticing how the muscles and tissues of your legs and your behind spread out on whatever it is you're seated on. Maybe you can even get a sense of that kind of girdle of your pelvis, the stability in your lower core, and the long spine. Letting your head even drift up toward the heavens if you like. At the same time, keeping your shoulders relaxed and your jaw relaxed. And maybe even beginning to notice what the breath is like right now. You might notice how fast or slow it is. Maybe you notice how choppy or smooth the breath is. And maybe there's a particular place where the breath is most obvious to you, where you really feel it coming into the body and releasing. So just witnessing this life breath. If you wish, you can actually trace the breath. So, for example, you might rest your fingers right below your nose and just feel the temperature as the breath moves from outside of the body in at the tip of the nose. How it changes direction and then moves back out at whatever pace you're observing. And maybe you even notice a change in temperature as the body warms the breath. If you wish, you can move your hand to your chest. It's just a helpful way to anchor attention on the breath as it rises and falls in the chest. And you're just watching. The body knows how to breathe. You don't have to change anything at all. If you want to, you might rest your hands on your ribs at your sides. Another place to feel the expansion of the breath and the release. Maybe you even rest your hands on your belly, on your lower abdomen. Just observing if there's any movement here, any expansion as the breath fills, any release as the breath empties. And so wherever it is that you most easily feel that movement of the breath, you can just gently settle your attention there and begin to find all four parts of the breath. So you might feel the in-breath and notice how it pauses to reverse direction. And you might feel the out-breath. And then you might find the stillness at the bottom of the out-breath. Again, as the breath changes direction to come back in. And maybe even finding something in this particular breath that you haven't noticed before. No pressure, you're just watching. Curious, kind, just observing how the body receives the breath, pauses, releases, pauses. And if you'd like to, at the bottom of the breath, after the exhale, you might just give yourself a moment of rest in the stillness of that pause. If you find the mind wandering, just knowing that's what minds do. And then gently redirecting your attention to all four parts of this breath right now. And this breath that's never occurred before and never will again. Knowing that discovery, resilience, for some happens not with finding new things, but seeing old things with new eyes. And what's true about this present breath? Perhaps just witnessing a moment of respite. And if you like, maybe even sensing into the community that we're practicing together with. Feeling the presence of each other and whatever other presence is obvious to you. And then if you'd like to take a moment to set an intention for yourself, to wish yourself well, to love yourself through this moment, as someone said earlier. And then perhaps even sending that energy out to those around you. Giving yourself 2 or 3 more full, comfortable breaths with your full attention now. And then in your own time, at whatever pace is best for you, you can gently begin to move your fingers, your toes, look around your space a little, kind of get oriented again to wherever you are. And then bring yourself back on screen when you're ready.